Hey, welcome. This one is Ben. Ben, come I send you. Hey, it's just welcoming. Then we start a conversation. Um, you know where my car key is? I need the car key. Inaonyesha vibaya sana. Hebu taa. My car is in the car. Hebu ambia so you can check for me. Hebu nipasha hivi. Weka tu, leta tu, nitajemulika. Aya, wewe acheni kelele sasa. Hello, good evening. I know just check for me the key, and then uniangalie kama in my trouser there might be my key. You check for me. Alafu uniende kwa gari the light. Hello, good evening. Welcome to the Kenyan Historian. Thank you so much for joining in. I don't know if I'm audible. If I'm not audible, you can chat and tell me if I'm not audible. Now we're beginning very fast. We're beginning to look at, I want us to look at the issue of floods and just how prepared Kenya was. You can raise your questions, you can contribute, making a comment there. I'll be reading them. Polepole tu tukisonga, tunazungumzia swala la mafuriko kwa kwamba Kenya inashuhudia mafuriko mengi. Ni si Kenya peke yake. The other day I was in Tanzania and they were also having a problem. I remember I was in southeastern Tanzania. River Rufiji ilikuwa kama tuitaje, it was like an ocean or a lake. It was so flooded, and it had displaced so many people. So it's not a Kenyan affair, but today we are just looking at how prepared was Kenya. Was Kenya prepared really to deal with the issue of floods? First of all, tukirudi pale was given last year, the El Nino warning. I remember even the governor of Nairobi, His Excellency Johnson Sakaja, made it clear that he was going, or his government was going to purchase boats that would have helped people in around the capital city. But today it appears the boats are nowhere. People are stranded left, right, center. Now, as we speak right now, people are stranded in the Maasai Mara. We've seen choppers going there to get tourists. But they are not just tourists who are stranded. Kuna watu wale wanaitwa tour guides, kuna hoteliers, watu wanafanya like 12 tented camps and lodges have been submerged, completely submerged. Remember, there's a river called Telek, has broken the banks, and as we speak now, the Maasai Mara is flooded like never seen. So as we continue, I'll be reading some of your comments and questions. So we move on together. So we look at different things and how it manifested and how the government or the people in authority could have done better. So there is Craig Nyanyom who says it's true. Money was handed to the president, but it seems they used it for other things. Then there is Sam Mohinja who says, glad to be here all the way from Alabama. Thank you so much, Sam. Seems as if Prophet Noah, those thousands years back, ancestors left behind blood families. The ark, this is the time now. Let them prepare because they won't be left behind. No escape. And I'm telling you, your point, Hassan, is very important because when we look at the other day, I was looking at the inaitwaje, Madogo, the Madogo issue. In Madogo and Garissa, the let's say the Madogo Garissa road was rendered impassable hours like before people started now to look for ways of going home, because I've had people say that mbona waliamua kwenda nyumbani, mbona wangelala tu, so wangelala mahali ambapo walikuwa. Now this is human nature, not just human nature. People forget that human beings are just animals like other we are animals. So at the end of it all, we love going back home, where we live, where we call home. Every human being or every animal will always think of going back home. So I don't usually blame, and I will not blame the people who are trying to go back home despite the danger. What you can just advise people is that when you see for example, the bridge is full, don't try to cross. If there is no way, hakuna kitu, usipande kama boat, for example, the Garissa one. And even there are people who are shouting, watu ni wengi, but I remember mnahitaji ule jamaa wa boat, ule row your boat. So the guy, I think he was looking at the money, but he didn't look at the risk that he was putting himself and the people he was carrying into. So one, if you remember umekwama mahali, wachana nayo. Unaweza tafuta mahali ukalale, as I think that's the best way. So Jeff Lukamari anasema Samburu is following. Thank you so much from Samburu. Bernard Thuo says, I like your documentaries, we really appreciate. I remember at around 9 we will be having another documentary that will be premiering. So if you are here, remember to watch. We have a nice documentary about City in Chaos. I will not disclose what it's all about, but I can tell you that if you watch, you will understand. We are trying to diversify and tell stories that are impactful. We are trying to see, because we believe that Kenyans and Africans deserve better than what we are getting today. Our leaders are not giving us what we deserve, and that is a fact. Because when you look at the flooding situation today, I was giving an example. Let's look at the Mai Mahiu situation. The Mai Mahiu situation, you know, the blockage at the railway, it didn't start, it wasn't like, it didn't just block on a day and it burst, because there was no dam in Mai Mahiu as it was being reported. There's no dam, hakuna bwawa. So kilichofanyika ni kwamba kuna mahali kuna bridge ya reli. Sasa ile bridge, miti mikubwa hii ilikuja, then what happened, ikafunga sehemu ya maji kupita. Sasa kilichofanyika ni kwamba maji yalizuiwa. After now the water was held back. It was held back and it became like a dam now. And you know, maji lazima yatafute mahali pa kupita. So if you don't hold the pressure from water, it will burst. And that is why dams are not just constructed kivivi. Engineering a dam is sophisticated, it's high quality. And now remember, hiyo ni miti tu ilikuwa imeshikilia. So when the center could not hold, damu ikamuka, ndio hiyo mpaka kule chini ikaua watu. Now the question that I keep asking is, because when you talk to people in Mai Mahiu, they say that they started seeing the blockage or the blockade like days, kulikuwa na masaa, na wakaambia watu this thing is dangerous. So the question is, did it hit the authorities? Did the authorities know that there was a blockage that was actually holding back water and which was becoming dangerous to the people? That is the question. Imagine if the authorities knew, then someone must be held accountable, because the loss of lives there is something that you cannot even fathom. There's something that you cannot even think about. It's huge. Many people lost their lives just like that. Now, holding back water, and If the authorities knew and they couldn't do or they did nothing, then that the people who knew and did nothing become liable. Now, leave alone that. That early morning, when reports went or circulated that at that time people were saying a dam had burst, we didn't see consolidated efforts to save people, search and rescue. Because if the army is being released days after, I keep wondering who actually was advising the president at that particular time. Who was advising the president on the magnitude of what happened in Mai Mahiu? Because I'm sure we have experts, people who are big experts in this, in different agencies. We had the Red Cross, we had the NYS, we had the police, we had everyone at that particular time, because we know that the Kenya Defense Forces has sophisticated equipment that can make work easier in terms of mechanized work. Like for example, you saw the machines that came there yesterday after the president ordered, not ordered, but yeah, it's an order, I think, ordered the KDF to come in and help the search and rescue team. Now, why did it take that long? Because everyone knew that many people are missing. There were not two people, it was not one. And remember, we normally say in human science, we say one life is more than enough to act. Hmm? One life. So many people were missing, many had died, many had been trapped, others no one knew where they were, and yet we took long to bring in a team that would have helped. So the animals have gone where Maasai or they made to the highway grounds. Let's hope. Yeah, let me tell you one thing about animals. Some will, I'm sure, I think some might be caught, but animals know how, that's how God created. And I said we are all animals, including us. Like they read signs. They read signs and tell it's this one is not good, this one looks bad. So when the floods start, you can find many of them will have migrated. Animals migrate. Now where we are going, where we are heading, and the way we are building on every space we see, the way we are bringing down forests and parks, I'm seeing a future where animals will have a big problem, because now if a situation like what has happened in the Mara happens, where do they migrate to? Because animals migrate when the situation where they are changes. For example, when the droughts come in, when too much rain come in, they migrate just like human beings. How we migrate? Yeah, we are animals. I'm from Ruiru, following Kinley. Thank you so much, bro. Thanks for Elias Gwabe. Asante sana. But guys, also remember, we have a membership program. We just started and we've seen quite a number of people have joined. They are now members. We are working on exclusive content for members. Um, and we will also be doing behind the scenes, and we'll also sometimes be having lives for just members. So if you are there, also remember to become a member, join in. You being a member will really help us do a lot, because then it means we can also get funds to do our documentaries. We have great documentaries lined up, but a problem that we have been having is getting funds. So we are hoping that when you become members, you can also help us to create a fund that will be able to aid us in terms of documentary production. Now, we're still back on the issue of floods. We've talked about Mai Mahiu a little bit. So, search and rescue still in Mai Mahiu. As we speak, there is now another, we can't call it a disaster now, because what we can say is that people are trapped, they are tourists, they are hoteliers, they are people, let me say security people, they are I've talked about tour guides, yes. So who are trapped in the Maasai as we speak, but the Kenya Red Cross and some hotel owners there who owns choppers have been doing what you call search and rescue. Some people have been evacuated, and the process is still in. I've seen pictures where people are stuck. I've seen videos. I myself haven't been there, but I've received videos where people are stuck in hotels. Water just like, if you see those videos, you just feel like, is it the end time? Someone asked me if it's the end time, and I told them it looks bad. Like the situation just looks bad. Yeah, it's sad and bad at the same time. So if you're somewhere and you are safe, thank God. Thank God. The people who don't know even where they are going to sleep. I saw people sleeping on the rooftops. And it's raining. But you see, it's better than being in the house. That is the situation we are in right now. Now, any government, the president was interviewed yesterday on BBC. He was interviewed by a good friend of mine. She's called Rhoda Odhiambo. And the president talked about the funds being there. So when we talk about the funds, who has the funds? Because we know, according to the president, the funds are allocated to the national government for emergencies and also allocated to the county governments for emergencies. So, in some of these cases where we are having these problems and late evacuation, where people are trapped for days, I think we don't just have a proper plan for emergencies, because emergencies are unpredictable. And when they're unpredictable, you also plan on unpredictability. Plan in advance. Look at it. For example, if there are floods and you are warned, we were warned in advance. As early as last year, we were warned about the coming of El Nino rains and floods. So, at what particular point did we sleep? At what particular point did those in government sleep on the job? From the national government to the county government, because the president says actually the money is there for the national government and the money is there for the county government. And so the question is, why were there delays in helping Kenyans stranded in situations where they have nowhere to go? Why were there delays? Because with water, you delay for hours, and then people are dead. Because water, if you can imagine, wanasemanga maji uzima moto. Yeah? Fire is bad. But imagine water uzima moto. The force of, they say the power of water. Now, moving us a little bit from the government, let's look at the individual basis. What should we do and what should we not do? That's the question. Anyone with answers, if you have a suggestion, an opinion, you can write there in the chat and we can continue with this conversation as we read. I've seen Naturele. Is it Naturele? Why can't the president declare a state of emergency? He's asking, Naturele is asking, why can't the president declare a state of emergency? You see, that's the president only who can answer that, because he's the only one who has the power. But it's a question, yeah. It's a question. You are not the only one who is asking. That many people are asking, why are we not having conversations where we know that it's bad, and we need to have consolidated efforts to deal with the issue of flooding? Yeah. So I'm just checking on the latest in Maasai Mara, and see what. Let me see. I'm trying to see if we have the latest, if we have any information from the Maasai Mara coming from our friends down there. X. Oh no, I'm stuck in the old. You know when you are semanga vitu zingine manena kwa ngumu. I just want to see probably what are people on Twitter talk about in terms of floods as with the conversation. Mustafa, you haven't finished. You just said let the president declare. Oh, you mean declare state of emergency? I think that is what you mean. So I've seen quite a number of, yeah. So when we talk about that, let's look at, we've looked at Mai Mahiu, we've looked at Maasai Mara, we've looked at Madogo. Yeah. There is also another question that comes in. Um, every time I've talked to government officers and especially government officials who are involved in emergencies, who are involved in mitigations, who are involved in special programs, is I always ask people in government one question. Why is it that we have a cycle? We will talk about floods today. After floods, then we'll start talking about drought. After drought, we go back to floods. Now, this one, might seem an easy thing, but for the people who live in areas that are prone to floods and droughts at the same time, this is it's a big problem, because you can imagine the people of Northeastern, the people of Tana River, the people of Turkana, they were just coming from a long period of drought, 4 seasons without rains, 4 seasons dry. Now their grounds were gone, their animals had nothing to eat. Now is when they're trying to recover from the long period of drought. Then we have floods. Floods that now is sweeping the little, if we're talking about grass that was germinating, trees that were coming up, they're now gone, swept by the floods. So, how do these people recover? How do they develop a sustainable life? Now, even in the capital city of Nairobi, we are not spared. Those who live in the capital city, we are not spared, because at the end of it, today, I've just realized that Nairobi doesn't have a proper drainage system. Yes, I used to know that, but today I've realized that we don't have. It's almost zero, because if you see rainwater running on the road, just little or a small, before even it starts to flood, you're seeing a lot of water running on the road, and it's just some rashes. Wanaitanga mvua za rasha rasha kabla ikuwe nyingi, lakini unaona maji yanakimbia kwa barabara. It just shows you how poor our drainage system is. Now, from that point, now you look at how we are developing today. We are developing high rises. In Kilimani, in Kileleshwa, tall buildings are coming up each and every day. You wake up and they have tall buildings. You sleep, they have another tall building. Like, for example, there's a street called, this, is it a street really? A road called Apple, Wood Avenue. Wood Avenue is like a construction site. When one building is halfway, another one is midway, another one is almost being completed, another one is on the foundation. But remember one thing: constructing tall buildings is not a problem and it's not an issue, because most countries and most cities are headed there because of population. Nairobi right now, we're talking about 4 point something million people living in the capital city, and over 5 million being in the city during the day. Unajua kuna wale wanaishi diaspora. Hey, ikifika usiku, Kajiado, Moranga, Ruiru, Kiambu, they go back to their homes. But during the day, they all converge in the capital city. Now, looking at it, we are constructing tall buildings, which means we are attracting many people to live in a place like Kilimani. But the amenities that are in Kilimani are still the old amenities that were meant for bungalows, that were meant for masonets. They were not meant for tall buildings. But at the end of it all, hapo ndio tunabwaga kila kitu. Buildings, tall buildings, how many floors, apartment buildings. Now look at it. The ones that were meant for masonette, in a place where there was a masonette that accommodates one single family of, let's say, 5 people. This one I'm including husband, wife, and 3 children. So 5 people. Today, there is a high rise that has over 40 houses, which means 40 families. 40 families, let's just give them 40 times, yani kila average tuseme sasa ni 2 kids. So 4 people per house times 40, 160 people living on a place where the amenities that were constructed there, the roads, the water, we call them horizontal structures, sewer system, roads, water system, all those, they were constructed to cater for like a family of 5. Now we have 160 within one. Now move to broader ones. In an area, angalia hiyo area tu ya Wood Avenue, angalia yote. Sasa now we have high rises. From one unaruka kwa ingine, another high rise. 160, 160, 160, 160 within a radius. Now within one, now 160, 160, 160 times ni how many homes? Mingi sana. The road ni kale kale. So inamaanisha when people come there, watu wanakuja na magari, ni watu wengi. So you can imagine, and the drainage ni ile ile, the road ni ile ile. That's why we're having problems. Okay. Ben Thua says the government needs to invest in water harvesting during the rainy season and to train people to do the same. This will help preserve rainwater to be used for irrigation during dry. Now, as we say, from Thua's point, can you imagine if we had a dam? Imagine if we had a dam in Garissa today, just around Garissa. Ile maji ya Tana River, by the way, yenye inatoka Masinga. Do you know hakuna mahali inaenda? Now there is a debate, there is an issue. We haven't even issued, there was a proposal to do the grand, it's not renaissance, but a grand dam. A grand dam. Now, a tender has not been issued. There are squabbles here, there, left, right, center. So the question is, when will we do the dam? And when will we harvest this water, as Thuo says? Everything, the game can be changed up, that we harvest this water. And at that particular time, when there is long drought, people take them the circle. And then by they are empowered, now they can look for other ways of dealing with floods. Just during floods time, like now. You see, that's the problem we're having. And as Thuo says, I think our problem majorly is with the leadership. I've seen countries like Rwanda. I've seen countries like, maybe Rwanda is a little bit because there is also debate on whether it's mambo na dictatorship or something like that. But when you look at the whole spectrum, people and human beings, I will always say this: we human beings, we are like animals, and we are animals. We must be led. So how successful people are depends on the person leading them. Ni kama kondoo tu, akiamua kwenda kwa msitu, tutaenda kwa msitu, because in the current constitution and the current organization of government, who leads holds the key to development, because yeye ndiye akona ufunguo wa treasury. Yeye ndiye anaamua pesa zitaenda wapi. Even with this devolution, if devolved governments, as back to your point though, if developed government, if devolved governments came up with proper systems that will ensure that we capture this rain. We capture the water during the rainy season. Then we can have food in places like Tana River. I've been there. They are dry but very fertile places. They just lack water. And when it comes to agriculture, plants or crops don't need rain. That's where people don't know. Crops need water. They already have warmth. Those areas are warm, and the soils are fertile. So the only thing that is missing there, the only ingredient, is water. So finding a way of providing water for these communities will be the game changer. And you see, the issue of climate change is big, my friend. Let me tell you one thing. I went to the village where I grew up, my maternal's village. So I went there, and what I saw shocked me. The river we used to do what we call Dufum Pararo. Mahali tulikuwa na swim napiga saini ka stream. As it, and what people are doing that they may not understand that is dangerous. Watu wanafuata mto, kakipunguka wanalima. Mahali mto imetoka wanasonga wakilima. So kama kwa ka stream, a very narrow stream. Now looking at it, I looked at it, and then watu wamepanda sasa mitimbao. Actually, let me tell you, if you have land, don't ever, unless you have huge piece of land and just want to do eucalyptus for business, for agribusiness. But eucalyptus are bad news. Their roots go far and they take in a lot of water. They take in a lot of water. By the end of it all, you will not have even fruits in your boma. There was a time my grandfather used to have we used to have a huge tree. It was huge. No one could climb it. It was so huge that you couldn't. Now, there was a time when I was in primary school. Matunda yakaisha kwa boma yote. Alikuwa amepanda matunda. Kulikuwa na avocado, maembe. Tunaitaka sambarao masambarao. Vitu yote, matunda yote kwa hii dunia. Alikuwa na kahawa. Then all of a sudden, they just disappeared. Like, we just remained with trees. No fruits. They could not even flower. So we didn't realize, we didn't know what was happening. Until one day now, my grandfather decided that he was done with the tree. He wanted to convert them into timber. So akaleta watu wa power saw, wakaangusha hiyo kitu. Wakishaangusha hiyo muti, my friend, hatukumaliza mwezi, we had fruits like nonsense. We had fruits. So guys, today we have just discussed a short discussion on floods. And before we leave, Kahugu Mwiruri is making some points here. He says, let's own it. Our system is collapsed. Our 11 trillion debt did not make for us roads and dams and drainages. See where we are now, drowning as the water wastes away. Our land use system is broken. We have no conservation areas anymore. Even the Kijabe area that collapsed on Sunday was forest and finally encroached. Very good points. Very good points, Kahugu. You actually nailed it on. We have systematically killed what held our systems together. Now, when you look at forests, we no longer have forests. There was a day I went to Mau. I was doing the documentary on Mau Forest when I was still at Citizen TV. I went to Mau and I almost cried. There's no Mau. Like, people have encroached into the forest like never before. And when you see it, you are like, the trees they're cutting, they're trees that take 100 years to grow. 100 years to grow. Now, look at it. Trees that can hold, because flooding sometimes is you don't have things to hold the water. Trees play a very important role as far as holding the water, because they will take in the water, some of them, and when there are trees, this they're called what? These indigenous trees. They survive. They can grow side by side with other species. They can grow with grass. They can grow with whatever. Let me tell you, exotic trees humaliza anything around it, especially eucalyptus. Hii tunaitanga miti mbao, inamaliza anything around it. It kills. So the land or the soil there remains bare. Maji yakikuja ni mafuriko tu, yanakimbia. And what we are saying is the impact of what we have done for several years. Some say it's a punishment. It's a punishment in many ways, whether scientifically or whether spiritually. Whether you look at it spiritually or whether you look at it scientifically, it just reflects one thing. It reflects and says, it shouts that we are being punished because of our own doings. So he says, let me go back to Kahugu. He says, we have no conservation areas. Fact. I remember when I was growing up, my maternal grandfather, I grew up from my mother's side, had a forest. It's no longer there. His own forest, it went. Now, even the government ones have gone. When you look at it, when it says our data did not construct roads, dams, drainages, I always talk about this issue. I always say people and our leaders have systemically killed our systems. Pole pole, killed our systems. Pole pole. We could be very far as a country and as a continent of Africa. But because our leaders choose to enrich themselves at the expense of public good, that is where we are today. Yeah. So, guys, floods are here. So, as we continue with the conversations, kindly remember to talk to us. Remember to subscribe to the Kenyan Historian. Remember to share our documentaries. We will keep on the conversation on floods as things go by, because this is a conversation we cannot leave it like that. We have to continue with the conversation and probably look at how we can salvage the situation. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Those who have been here. Oh, we're still around. But I want to say thank you. Thank you for always watching the Kenyan Historian. We will do another live, if not tomorrow, on Friday, depending on my availability, close to a computer, close to a phone. Okay, someone says here, when the first major floods hit decades ago, we were also unprepared. Let me tell you, we are always unprepared. We are always unprepared. Because if we had systems in place, then it means, of course, disasters are there. Disasters will always happen. But the question is, are you prepared that when disasters happen, you can reduce human suffering to a level best? Like, can you help people? Can you get people out? Can you provide for the people? That's the question. Today, people are living like IDPs. Oh, they are IDPs actually. They are internally displaced by the floods. They are displaced by the floods. So the question is, didn't we not anticipate what is happening today? As far as I talked earlier when we were starting the live broadcast, as far as last year, hapa tu juzi, the Kenya Meteorological Department, I remember people were laughing. Walisemaje? Hakuna kitu. Kumbe ilikuwa inatungoja, inatuweka kwa ngoja. Now, did the people in authority go back and sleep? Waliamua tu wakasema hii pesa kama imetoka. And they didn't buy the boats some of them promised. Ndio no boats. Sijaona hizo boats. Machakos peke yake ndio nimeona boats zimetokea. Yeah, Machakos boats. Na nimeona wapi tena kwingine? Nimeona boats mahali pengine. But Nairobi hakuna boats. Mm. There are no boats. Mtajua hii ni town. Mtajua hii ni town. So the conversation will continue. This conversation ndio tumeanza tu bwana, ndio tumeanza tu, lazima tuangalie. We will be discussing issues and issues. And remember, we will also be doing, I don't know if this one enables, but I know of the phone one that does, where you can actually go live with other people. I don't know about with this one because I would want also to have a conversation with people from wherever they are. We just have a conversation face to face, like using the mtandao. With the technology, we can have a live interview, a live discussion with people wherever they will be here on the Kenyan Historian, and just look at some of the issues affecting Kenyans. By the way, as I told you, in a few, it's just 1 hour or something, we will be premiering our documentary on City of Chaos. Yeah, you heard me clearly. City of Chaos. So usiende ukalale bwana, usiende ukalale. Kuna kitu inaitwa City of Chaos. Na inakuja saa hivi. So nataka kuuliza, ukienda kulala hautaona hiyo City of Chaos. So usiende ukalala tafadhali. We are actually looking forward to watching that with you. By the way, let me tell you, we had our inaitwaje? Our 100,000 award or subscriber award arrived. We will be unpacking it soon. So watch out for unpacking. Na wale wanataka kuparticipate because tunataka kula mbuzi, unaweza enda pale, we have our till number. You can send mbuzi yako, then we can enlist you because we want to go and eat mbuzi as we do the unpacking and celebrate, because we are starting these things where we can also have time with our supporters, because you are our supporters, you are our base that we can we can hook up in a place and just laugh and say this is the Kenyan Historian family, because the Kenyan Historian is not about me. I cannot watch myself. Hata nikiwatch myself najua siwezi fikisha 10 views, but the fact that I have a lot of views, it's because of your support, because some of you watch, like, and share. You know, by the way, when you watch, the most important thing is like and share and comment. When you like, YouTube now recognizes that that video is being appreciated, then it recommends to many people. When you share, it does the same magic. Yeah, and when you comment also. So just remember to leave a comment. Hata ukisema tumeshindwa mahali nini nini, but always mind your language. Kuna wengine wanaongeaga vibaya. Hey, unasema mpaka human is to error. Sometimes you miss out things, not because you are ignorant, but maybe you are, because we also depend on people like you to get information, and sometimes people intentionally mislead you. So unajipata, and then you verify, you try to verify, you don't get it. So luckily we have learned, we keep learning, we will make it better and better in terms of quality, in terms of research and everything. We're hoping to make the Kenyan Historian a better place for everyone. Kahugu amesema appreciate your work, let's keep safe guys, hope this jolts our national conscience, we can rebuild. Yeah, thank you so much, Kahugu. And guys, remember to subscribe. Keep safe, by the way. The most important thing now is keeping safe. Keep safe. Wherever you are, just know that your life is more important. You are more useful to us when you are alive. You are more useful to your family when you are alive. You are more useful to your children when you are alive. You are more useful to the nation when you are alive. So safety first. Safety. Don't assume that gari yako ina power itapita kwa bridge yenye imejaa maji. Well, there is what you call the power of water. Ina push mpaka meli. Wachana na gari yako. Ina push meli. So gari yako ni nini? Kama inabeba meli, sasa gari ya kgs ngapi hapa itaibeba kama kiraka, kama karatasi. So let's keep safe. Assess. When you assess, when you doubt, this is what I tell people. Whenever you doubt something you're about to do, don't do it. That's my principle. Whenever I doubt what I want to do, I don't do it. Even if it's a safari. If I doubt that sitaenda, sitaenda, nitabaki. So guys, let's keep safe. Let's keep safe. You can also email us on kenyanhistorian@gmail.com. You can make suggestions of the live things we can discuss. Some of the issues we can discuss on our lives. We are starting our lives, and we are going to come up with a calendar on which days we'll be having lives, so that we become consistent, so that you may know what we are going to discuss on which day and at what time. So make suggestions, kenyanhistorian@gmail.com, or you can WhatsApp 0759 522 513. 0759 522 513. You can also support us if you kama umeshikwa na roho ya kusupport. You can support us. By the way, we have a series that we want to work on, but fedha zinakuwa kidogo kidogo because it's not in Nairobi, it's out of town. Inahitaji funding kidogo, so kama unaweza tuwekea kitu kidogo yenye unaweza kwa 4026 That is till number. Till number is 4026512. It will give you my name. So you'll see my name and Enoxicolia. When you see Enoxicolia, you know it's correct. So anything yenye unaweza kutusaidia. And we will really appreciate. We always appreciate whoever sends in something. Hata kama ni ngapi, we always appreciate. You'll find their names in our videos. We give shout outs. For example, this time there's some people who have already sent in something to help us in our productions. Let me just check. I had already put in the video, so it's in the video. So, but we will be doing shout outs here for those who will find it in their hearts to support us. So there is Anita Murithi. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your kind support. We really appreciate. There is another one here, Stephen Oyaro. Stephen Oyaro, asante sana, tunaku appreciate, my friend. Thanks for your support. And then the last one here, who sent in yesterday. These ones were sent yesterday. This one here. Yeah, they found you, my friend. It's called yes, anaitwa Linda Makoha. Linda Makoha, asante sana for your support. Thank you so much, guys. Thanks for those who have helped us. We know that, by the way, that our documentaries are helped by you. You support us by watching our documentaries. That those who are members who contribute a few things on the membership list, and we get their support, and we really appreciate. And also by those who sending M-Pesa support. You'll tell me if, for example, those who need, for example, those who are not in Kenya and you really want to support and probably you need an account, we can give you our account. You can tell us if you need our account, we can give you an account, then you can support us. We really appreciate. We have talked so much, guys have contributed on the issue of floods, and we're not going to stop. We must talk about floods day in, day until the government helps people. Because these floods are not going anywhere anytime soon. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. We appreciate you and we love you. Barikiweni sana.